It is a fantastic evening here in Palo Alto, California. Here at Palo Alto Stadium, it's gonna be the Palo Alto Vikings versus the Aragon Dons. It's the Vikings versus the Dons coming up next on MC Sports.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Casey Hornbeek, and welcome to the Palo Alto Stadium. And joining me today is Oliver Marburg and Nate Martin to give you an in-depth analysis of the game. Today we have a great matchup between the 2-0 Aragon Dons and the 0-3 Palo Alto Vikings. Any initial thoughts, Oliver?
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for Paly. Their star running back, Paul Jackson III, is out. Upsets do happen, but it's going to be a tough one for Paly here.
And how about you, Nate, about Aragon?
Well, Aragon just came off a great victory against South San Francisco. This will be their first road game, but I think Palo Alto is going to take a loss in this one.
We've got the opening kickoff coming up next on MC Sports right after this.
Monitor's dead. Nothing coming on the program.
The opening kickoff is set here. Welcome back, everybody. As we missed the opening kickoff, Palo Alto decided to kick this ball off, and Aragon received, as they have their quarterback in number 2, Gabe Campos. He's going to run it on this play, and he's sacked for a big loss by number 31, number 6, Cameron Grant. It's going to be Aragon's ball for about 2nd and 9.
Gabe Campos, 5'7" quarterback, very small for a quarterback. He's a senior, and he's been doing very well this season, leading his team to 2-0.
And when do you say the Vikes are coming out with just a confidence where they have nothing to lose? They just want to win this game, Ollie.
Yeah, this is a tough opponent they're going against, and the best outcome here is obviously a win, and that's going to be tough, but I think they can do it.
As Gabe Campos in the gun, this time he's going to throw this ball, and he finds his receiver, Donovan Robinson. Robinson's going to go, and he just about get a first. We'll see how they mark it.
And as you did say, Palo Alto has something to fight for. This is staff appreciation night here in Palo Alto. It is, and I feel like they got to give the staff something to be proud of tonight.
And yes, they did get the first down there, so it will be 1st and 10 for the Aragon Dons. And don't you think Paly just doesn't want to give up a point on defense for the first drive to get him some momentum and confidence?
Aragon is averaging 17.5 points in the first quarter, so it's going to be a challenge to stop them here, but I think they, with their defense looking good so far.
Campos, and sorry to interrupt you, but Campos has a nice handoff there, and it's about a 3-yard gain. It was number 3, Donovan Robinson. Robinson been involved a lot this early in this game. It's going to be 2nd and 6 for the Dons.
And Palo Alto, coming off a tough loss, went into San Jose, my bad, and they took an L to Archbishop. Absolute ball, 42-6. Can they recover though against Aragon?
Yeah, Archbishop Mini's always a tough opponent to go against, but yeah, it's just not acceptable to lose by that much.
And it was a really just not a good game for the Vikes, as Campos this time is a fumble there, but he's still on his feet. Number 31, it's going to be Paul Latuumi. Gets a nice gain there as he fumbles it, but then recovers it and gets a first down.
Yeah, that's just unlucky for the Vikings. I mean, they got the forced fumble, but it just happened that they picked it up and ran for even more.
Yeah,
right.
And as you did say, Aragon likes to get off to an explosive start. As you did say, they scored 17.5. They averaged 17.5 points in the first quarter, and like you can definitely see that they love attacking the running back. They love throwing in a little sneak play in there. Like you could see the fake handoffs and stuff.
Yeah,
it's really
absolutely.
Campos this time is going to throw it in the gun. He's going to throw it to Robinson again, but this time stopped by number 2, the sophomore, Janacio Henley.
Yeah, Janacio Henley did a good job by reading that play. It was set up as a wide receiver screen, but he just read it perfectly and got the tackle.
And
He's only a sophomore also.
The thing that I really like about high school football, I mean, like, I'm just looking at my stat sheets right here, and you can, on my rosters and stuff, and you can see people who are playing multiple positions and a lot of stuff like that. They're playing a lot of multiple positions, and it must be really hard to play offense then go straight onto defense, especially when you'll start on both sides.
And while you were talking, Nate, there's a hold on the Aragon Dons. It's going to be a 10-yard penalty. It will be 1st and 22 for the Dons, so not that good of a field position for them. See if they can maybe get a stop.
It's hard to be an offensive lineman in any league. Not being able to hold it's just really hard to do.
Yeah, especially for the center.
And
Once you get off the line, it's going to be hard to pick up, hard to get up.
Compost
touch
to
someone's
Cameron
face.
Grant. Sorry to interrupt, Chuck, but Cameron Grant gets a nice, almost a 20-yard
Play right there, and he has all the speed in the world, possibly all the speed in the world. That, of course, being number 6, the running back Cameron Grant.
Yes, and that's a nice play. It's going to be 2nd and 9, as it's a nice 13-yard gain for Cameron Grant. See if this Paly defense isn't very experienced, but see if they can hold him, as they're led by their junior 6-foot Wes Walters, really star middle linebacker.
Steve Sept, the Aragon coach, really likes attacking the ball on this first quarter. You've been seeing that. He's been giving a ball a lot to his running back.
It's going to be Campos over to Donovan Robinson.
That's number 31.
Sorry, not Donovan Robinson. It's going to be number 31, Paul Alto, who's their running back, it looks like, for today.
That's a good stop on 2nd down. Now you get a 3rd down, chance to stop him here, get some momentum into your offensive drive.
You're right.
Exactly.
And it will be 3rd and 5, so Paly's on the stop.
Yeah. And I think you said this earlier, Casey, but you said that it'd be really good to get some points not on the board for Palo Alto, especially on
give
this
them
defense.
momentum.
Yes, give them the momentum, and I think that could happen if they just play really well, good defense this year.
As Campos, the 5'7" senior quarterback, snaps it, and it looks like there's a timeout.
Timeout called by the Aragon Dons.
It's by the Dons. That's their 1st to 3rd. Pretty early for a timeout.
I mean, on a 3rd down, you want to script a game plan here, see what you're going to do, read the defenses. So, I mean, it's a bit early, but it makes sense.
And Steve Sept knows a lot about this stuff, the Aragon head coach. He's been coaching there since 2004. A great coach. He's been coaching at Aragon longer than I've been alive, so.
That's impressive for him. And to say how much of a mismatch this is, I mean, we looked, and as you see here, the Aragon Dons are ranked in California 138th. In Paly is ranked 522nd. So that's a big mismatch. National, it's about 1,573rd for Aragon and about 7,500 for the Vikings. So it's a huge mismatch. If Paly comes up with a dub here, this would be one of the biggest upsets in high school sports this year.
Well, I don't know about one of the biggest, but it'll definitely be a giant upset.
So far, it would be probably the biggest. Campos is going to throw this ball deep. Wide open. It's Davion Cox. Touchdown.
He was
Dons.
just wide open right there. No one was covering him. I don't know what the cornerback was doing in that play. See,
as you see in the replay, he fell, and it looks like Jameer Shepard, the cornerback, came in late, but someone, we can't tell who, tripped, and it looks like their star kicker, Guadalupe Hernandez, who we saw in warm-ups, was kicking 45s, coming in to kick the extra point.
Yeah, if a high schooler who's a senior is kicking 45 yarders, almost blocked right there, but who's kicking 45 yarders, that's just really impressive. Like some college kickers can't do that, who are in D1 schools.
True, it's up and good, almost blocked by Janacio Henley, but not quite. And man, Oliver, don't you feel the Palo Alto Vikings had a great defensive thing going and just blew it?
It's really deflating for a team. You get the offense to a 3rd down, chance for a stop, like you said, get some momentum, but especially a touchdown. It's just not a momentum builder at all.
Yeah, and I'd also like to point something out. Palo Alto is having a bit of fatigue. Aragon has already had a bye week this season. They're 2-0, but Palo Alto has played 3 straight games. That's tiring on the players.
Yeah.
Playing 3 straight games, 5 weeks a day, five days a week. it's really hard, and especially with 5
Especially against teams like Midi and Half Moon
Yes.
Bay where you're getting destroyed.
Yes. They really have a tricky non-conference schedule this year. But if they can pull one of these games off, which they haven't done so far, but if they do it against Aragon, that'd be a huge momentum shift coming into the conference games.
I mean, as we'd like to remind us, is a non-conference game. This is Paly's 4th. As Hernandez is going to kick this ball up, it will be received by number 11 on the Vikings, Paly. Thee's going to go, and he's still up. He gets down at the 30. He's still up. 5. Still up, and nice job by Thee to stay alive there.
Yeah, kind of reminding me of Aloofus, like Christian McCaffrey or something. Look at all those cuts and stuff.
The Dons and the Vikings have both not played league games. All their games have been non-conference, so they've been going against some tough teams, but the Dons have been able to pull it out.
Yeah.
2-0 is
South San Francisco, an incredible team. O.J. Simpson, one of their graduates, actually.
Yeah.
and they beat them 35-0. Absolute swing.
And
then we got the Palo Alto offense on for the first time tonight. At quarterback is their junior quarterback, 6'3", 208, Jackson Christ.
And of course, Jackson Christ, older brother at Stanford, Keller Christ. His father his uncle coaches he's the quarterback coach at the Broncos, and his father is at Wisconsin.
And Chris, as you were talking, Chocolate, got sacked on his first play of the game by number 57, Dante Pacini, the fullback linebacker senior. And man, that's not a good way to start as a quarterback.
you never want to get sacked on your first play of a drive. You get loss of yards, then you have a 2nd and 18 now. It's just not a good way to start your drive.
Well, remember, Aragon's first play from scrimmage was a sack, so I don't know if that means Paly's going to score on this drive. Let's see what happens.
And they're missing their star running back, of course, Paul Jackson III. Stepping up in his place looks to be number 22, Aiden Chang, but we'll have to see from closer as they hand it off. Not quite going to do the job. And yes, it was number 22, Aiden Chang, who they turned off, who's going to be their backup running back tonight.
They really like Aiden Chang, this Palo Alto team. They really like using him a lot. I remember
backup.
last year they used him a lot. When Paul Jackson was the Fed was not playing, they handed the ball off to him a lot.
And they want him next year for when Paul Jackson's graduated and he's a senior.
He's a very speedy back. They use him for maybe some short down conversions.
Maybe some screens.
Yeah.
Fed down conventions maybe or something.
As Chris is going to go in for a 3rd and 13, 3rd and long for the Vikes. It's going to be Chris and Chris under center is going to roll out. He's going to get sacked for the 2nd time already. It's number 45, Moses Olive. The defensive tackle, senior, 240 pounds, hits him hard, and it's going to be 4th and 13. And they're going to be punting this ball away.
Moses Olive has been involved in both plays. Had an assist sack the first play, and now on this 3rd play gets another sack. So, been very involved in this game so far.
Yep.
And it's going to be Andres Jimenez, the offensive lineman, punting this time. It's a punt change for the Vikings. He's a junior, 6 foot. He's 265 pounds, one of the bigger punters.
I haven't seen a 265 punter ever in my
Jimenez,
life.
but man, he can boot that ball. That's a nice punt.
Yeah.
It will go out of bounds around the 43, and that's a nice punt right there.
Yeah, that is. I mean, you got a lot of power behind that leg and really boot that downfield.
Yeah, especially when you have all that muscle as a lineman.
Using all 265 pounds of his.
Yep.
So Aragon's going to retake over, see if they can make this game 14-0.
Yeah, and you did say they do like getting off to an explosive start. I think they can easily score right here if they can catch the Paly defense off guard.
So Gabe Campos rechecks in for another go.
Yeah, after their explosive first quarters, they dropped to under 10 points in the 2nd quarter. So, I mean, it's really drop off after that.
Yeah, but still. Under 10 points in a quarter.
Play action. Campos is going to throw this ball deep to Cox, and he got it. What a play. Paly saying incomplete, but they call it complete. It's about a 40-yard gain for the Dons.
Yeah, very similar play right there as the touchdown that the same player scored. Just a straight go route, and it's very hard for a cornerback to cover when you have a speedy receiver.
And Cox flat out beat
Like
Janacio
Cox,
Henley right there. As
Cox-
a senior on the sophomore.
Cox is a tall receiver, almost like a Mike Evans type. Can go up
6'2",
and get that ball.
6'2". Yeah, and Henley's only 5'11", so 3 inches taller. It's going to be Cox on about the 20-yard line for the Dons. Gabe Campos in the gun. This time he's going to hand it off to his running back.
Paul Latue, I think his name
Paul
is.
Latue, you're right. Or Paul Latue, yeah. And it's going to be about a 3 to 4 yard gain as we see how they mark it.
It's really hard to bust a run up the middle. All these big offensive linemen and defensive linemen all converging at once. It's really hard to find a hole and get through there.
Especially after I've been noticing in the league, in college, and in high school football, defensive linemen have been becoming a lot more athletic rather than just your typical big 300-pound guy.
And that's an interesting thought, as I totally agree. As Campos again to Latue, this time he'll be down about a 5 yard gain for Paul Latue. It's going to be set. Will they get the first? I believe it's going to be tight. I don't think he did, though. It'll be
Not a first down. That's going to be
third
around the
and
12-yard
2.
line, yeah.
So
3 yards.
3rd and 2 for the Aragon Dons. The Aragon Dons ranked 138th, as we already said, in California. It's a really good margin. Number 7th in the Bay Area, as they hand it off again to Paul Latue, and this time it looks like they'll get the first.
I think a player was head on the field. Nope, my bad. That's down right there, picked up, and they're just getting closer to the goal line. And I think they're just going to be keeping it on, giving it to the running back, Paul Latue.
They really don't want to deflate this lead, pal. They don't want to make it 14-0 and just keep their heads down. They just got to keep their heads up and keep grinding, don't you think?
Well, if Palo Alto, it's approaching the end of the first quarter. It's
lining up in a jumbo trip hack. Campos hands it off to Latue, and not much of a gain.
As I was saying before, only 5 minutes left in the game. Palo Alto, if they just have a nice long drive after this drive, they can easily hold Aragon down below their average, which will be, I think, a good momentous start for them.
And it's 2nd and 5. And Oliver, what can Palo Alto do right now to keep their heads up? I mean, maybe a pick, maybe just a stop. What can they do to
it's
get their
really
confidence?
hard to keep teams off the board when they're inside the 10-yard line. But
As the people loud, Campos is going to run it himself, and he'll be brought down by number 88, Luis Passarella, the 6'3 sophomore.
yeah, Louis on the offensive side is a tight end, so he's a big guy, and he just plugged up the run right there by quarterback.
Yeah, and of course it's very hard to run when you're in
Campos.
such a crazy student section, very passionate students,
Yeah.
and they're cheering really loud, especially when the opposing team is in the 10-yard line.
And last week I was at Gunn around this time, and it was nothing compared to this. The atmosphere of the students, even though they ended up getting the win, though. So
Camera is shaking. It is insane.
Campos is gonna fake hand up and then run it, and it's gonna be a touchdown for the Aragon Dons. It is Cameron Grant, the 5'10 juniors, 13-0.
Yeah.
Aragon.
Well, Cameron Grant is a good backup for the senior running back, Paul Latue. And especially, he still has 1 year eligibility.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that's going to be a good year for Aragon football.
In Aragon football, this may already be a good year for them.
Yep.
As if they keep this up, they'll be 4-0, as it's already 13-0.
you mean.
Make that 14-0 is once again almost blocked by Hunacio Henley. He's really good at coming off that blocker.
Yeah, it's if he could have blocked those, it could have been a very good game.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, it's really hard to get points off the board once they're in 1st and goal or inside the 10-yard line, because a sack they'd still be in field goal range, and the touchdown, you have 4 downs to get in that end zone. So, I mean, not much Paly could do there except for just play their hardest defense. I mean,
Yeah.
And there's 3 minutes, 24 seconds left in this first quarter here.
Yeah. It is getting colder. The lights is turning on. It's going to be a great game.
Friday night under the lights, as
Yep.
people dream about.
Yep. It's back, baby.
I know all over you, and I love it. Just the adrenaline of just coming out as a player. You know, people dream of that one day, just coming out with the band outside.
Yeah, especially with
Amazing.
in these really pounding music's like Back in Black and stuff.
Yeah, the band really sets the tone almost, like tempo and everything, and then the student section really just keeps that tone up going.
It's Hernandez going to put this one up. It's going to be returned by Shepard, I believe. Or is it going to be Henley? Yes, it's Genesio Henley, the man who almost blocked 2 PATs, as he'll go about 35. Nice game by him.
As I was saying earlier, but as Oliver was saying earlier about the bands, I really want to add on to that. It's really a lot more different atmosphere than an NFL game, a college or a high school game, because the bands are there, the student section's there, and they're some of the most passionate fans in the sport.
Yeah, definitely.
As it's going to be the second chance for the Palo Alto Vikes to do something, as they didn't quite do that on their first possession. As you see on your camera right there, there's Paul Jackson III sitting out, number 31, injured today for an undisclosed injury.
And Paul Jackson III, of course, a multiple sport athlete, plays basketball as well during the spring.
You're right. As he'll probably get a lot more playing time this year. As they have a new quarterback in, big surprise as they hand it off to Chang, but the new quarterback is number 22,
15.
Number 15, Kyle Mostafazadeh.
I'm going back to Paul Jackson III here. They're really a big absence there with 77.5 rushing yards per game and 106 total yards per game.
Yeah, and they're going to be missing him. And to change the subject, why do you think that they took out Jackson Chris to put in Kyle Mostafazadeh?
Well, Chris
junior
was just getting sacked a lot in that first drive. And now in the second drive, I think they need to change the strategy, and that's why they put in Kyle Mostafazadeh.
Is he still in? Yes, he is. Mostafazadeh, and this is a Mostafazadeh throws it to Jameer Shepard, the sophomore. Jameer Shepard's going to keep going. Shepard to the 10, to the 5. Jameer Shepard! Jameer Shepard, the sophomore. 80-yard touchdown for the Vikes!
Jameer Shepard, the sophomore.
The defensive man, the linebacker, Wes Walters, also plays running back, more like a fullback, and he gets the 2-point conversion. It is 14-8.
Yeah.
Dons.
Fullbacks are mostly used for those little dink and duck passes.
More than 10 at least. Wes Walters with a nice play there.
I really like the screen call right there by Danny Sullivan. Play catches the defense off guard always, and it's going to be guaranteed big pickup for you.
Yeah, I like what you just said, how it catches the defense off guard, because defenses aren't usually expecting a fullback screen. It's not a play call that usually is occurring, so I like the call by Danny Sullivan.
But the thing is, screen plays are usually pretty obvious. Once you see linemen shift to the right over left, that you're knowing it's going to be a screen play.
It's 2nd and 7 with 40 seconds left in the first. Mostafazadeh in, and Chris is laying down like he's in major pain as he's going to hand it off. This time to Wes Walters again, and then Wes will get a first, and that's 27 yards in 2 plays for Weston Walters.
I'm really liking these fake handoffs and stuff by Danny Sullivan for the play calls. Really catching the Aragon defense off guard as well as screenplays.
Yeah, Walter's usually very involved on the defensive end, but here in this game on the offensive end has been one of the most involved players in the whole team.
Paul Jackson III is injured.
Yeah, so him and Chang have to step up. And man, ever since Mostafazadeh came in and Chris went down, it's just changed this game.
Yeah. And the thing that I find weird, Palo Alto's beating a good team without their star running back.
And Chang down. Well, they're losing, but they're winning the momentum right now.
Yeah.
And now we'll end the first quarter as the first quarter winds down. Our final score at the end of the first quarter is the Aragon Dons 14, the Palo Alto Vikings 8.
Great first quarter that was right there. Very good first quarter. We saw flashes of an incredible game right there. And of course, I'm excited to see what goes on in the second quarter.
And I'll be honest, after it was 14-0, I thought this game was just going to drift away. Wouldn't you say, Oliver, and this would be a game over? But I'm shocked that they came back, and this game's a ballgame.
Yeah, once it was 14-0, I'm speaking for everyone when I say I think we thought it was they're just gonna run up the score and Paly wasn't gonna have a chance, but they fought back and they're still fighting back.
Yeah.
They have the ball into enemy territory, so.
Yeah, very great play calling right there by the Palo Alto. Danny Sullivan, a former Palo Alto Viking player, actually been coaching Palo Alto has not been having the strongest games, but Danny Sullivan is still showing
Stay
his
strong.
rights as a coach.
As we'd like to remind you, it's 12-minute quarters here in Palo Alto, not 15 as you're used to in NFL and college. It's 12-minute quarters as we enter the second quarter.
This is, of course, a very entertaining game. I think you said it before, but we all thought Aragon was going to run away with it. But no, Palo Alto's holding them to a close game.
I'm actually surprised that we haven't seen any of their star running back, Sion Latu here, number 45. I don't know if he's injured or what, but I haven't seen any of him yet.
Maybe we'll see some of him this drive.
As it looks like there's a flag on the play, Aragon players are celebrating. I believe it's on the Pikes.
Yeah, maybe an illegal motion or false start or something. Yep, false start.
As I look at the sideline, I see that Sion Latu does not have any pads on, so an undisclosed injury.
So 2-star running backs out for Paly, and they're still keeping this game close. That is actually insane for an 0-3 team.
Yeah, Wes Walters and
Andrew Chang.
Aiden Chang have been doing a great job.
So it's going to be 2nd and 16 after the penalty for the Vikings as Mostafazadeh trying to carry this team as they're driving. Mostafazadeh fumbles the snaps. He'll dive on it, and that's going to be a loss of yardings for the Vikings.
I think if Palo Alto does pretty well on this third down, like get it at least into field goal territory, then I think they could still have a good, I feel like they could still have momentum, feeling confident going into the sideline.
And you're right, it's 2nd and 18. Sorry, 3rd down and 18 as our PA announcer just said. On the scoreboard it said 2nd down and 18, but
Of course, in the huddle right now, Palo Alto coming out of the huddle right now. Kyle Mostafazadeh, what will he do on this fed down play?
Mostafazadeh, 3rd and 18, under center. He's going to hand it off to number 22, Chang. Chang still on his feet, and looks like they're going to be settling for a field goal.
I really like that play call right there. Just a jet sweep right there. One of my favorite plays in the game. Really fun, really catches the defense off guard.
Like I was saying before, Aiden Chang has speed, and you really got a chance to show that off there.
He's definitely the speediest back on this Paly team.
Definitely.
It's going to be 4th and 10 for the Vikings here, and the offense will stay on the field. It looks like they'll be going for it as Kyle Mostafazadeh comes in.
Danny Sullivan, a very gutsy coach, play caller. We saw that, and with 2-point division, can they be lucky as well? This down right here and get the fest.
Yes, here we see it. It's 4th and 10. Will they throw it? Will they pass it? As Mostafazadeh is going to give it, dives on it. They call it incomplete though, and it's going to be a turnover for the Vikings. Do you disagree by not kicking the field goal over?
No, I disagree honestly. I
You
think
know,
they
Tyler Fogg may not have may not have all that in him, but
yeah,
may well try.
I mean, for a high school team, it is a long field goal, but I like the play call there. He was open, just a little underthrown by Mostafazadeh.
Well, there was pressure coming from Aragon and specifically Moses Olive.
And it's going to be the Aragon Dons back on the field on offense. Gabe Campos trying to get another try, as there's not really another try. Hasn't been on the field in a while since the onside kick, as you would call it. It's going to be Gabe Campos. PA action. He's going to throw it deep. Incomplete. Good coverage by number 7, Dwayne Tran. Almost caught by Simon Mappa.
I like
tight
that.
End.
I like that formation there. They faked a wildcat and snapped it to the side to Gabe Campos, who rolled out and passed it. It was incomplete, but it was a nice play call.
We've been seeing a lot of trick plays, if you will, in this game so far. And it's only the second quarter. Early in the second quarter.
10 minutes, 12 seconds left in the second quarter. They're going to be on the opposite 25-yard line, so good field position for the Vikings on defense.
Yeah, and if they can bring pressure to Gabe Campos and get him in position right in his 10, I feel like that's going to make Gabe Campos nervous and give Paly good field position if they do punt. If Aragon doesn't do nothing on these next couple plays and punt the football.
You're right, there was a penalty that they accepted, so it's going to be 1st and 22 actually. Gabe Campos in the gun. hikes it. He's going to throw it himself. And look at that. Number
wow.
3, Donovan Robinson gets about a 25-yard gain. And all that work for the Vikings goes to nothing.
That reminds me of the Paly. That reminds me of the Paly. That reminds me of the Paly touchdown that was scored by Shepard. That was really similar. Same route, a slant route across the field, right between the cornerback and the safety, right in the breadbasket. It's a perfect spot for the
About
receiver.
10 minutes left till halftime here as they got time to do more damage.
You just can't give up a 1st and 22. I don't care who you are, but that's just a situation. You get a penalty and they get a first down right back.
Campos this time handing it off to Palatua, who's back in the game. Oliver looks like he's all right. What's good?
Well, the thing is, you did say this. I believe you said this earlier, but once you come in after not coming in after a while, you might feel a little bit. Well, you might feel a little bit weak and stuff. If that is the correct word, you might feel a little bit off. It could really throw you off not playing after
And Jackson
5 to 7
Christ
minutes.
is shaking his head like he's in so much pain right now. It looks like it's his left foot or ankle, and man, I feel bad for him. All that work, if it
This could.
pays off on a season.
A lot of Paly players are injured. Paul Jackson the third, an obvious one. Also, Paul Jackson the third, Jackson Chris, also injured. So they were resorting to backup, and they're still in this game.
2-star players right there. As it's 2nd and 7, it's going to be a timeout on the field by the Vikings, I believe.
And let's talk about this Paly defense. I mean, they're averaging about 49 tackles a game, which means it shows you how much time they're on the field, which really goes back to their struggling offense.
Yeah, and they've struggled for sure on offense. As we saw this game versus Half Moon Bay, about 2 weeks ago, and their offense couldn't do anything as it was about 48-7 that game. As Half Moon Bay absolutely crushed them.
And of course, 42-6 Palo Alto. 42-6 against Archbishop Midi. They've just been struggling, this Palo Alto team, and
Yeah, I was at that Half Moon Bay game. They just seemed out of it. Nothing else to say. They're just out of it.
The play calls I wasn't very impressed with, and honestly,
bad
Jackson didn't
performance
have
as a
his
whole team.
best game.
and of course they're playing a very tricky league. Los Gatos, Los Altos to tame a couple teams
Is
in that
Campos.
league. Very challenging.
Campos is going to throw it deep, everybody, but it way overthrown to his favorite target, Donovan Robinson, the 6-foot senior. Robinson, by far his favorite target, and you know who he reminds me of?
Aragon has a great field position, and with a great kicker, this could be field goal range for them.
Campos going to hand it off to the running back, and he's going to be almost tackled by touchdown. Good shots to be your touchdown, Aragon.
Trucks the man, and he's in. It's
And
a great power run right
Paul
there.
Latamui, the power back, just got about a 20-yard gain.
I see the replay here.
Shepard, and
Look at
man,
that.
he's in the end zone
Oh,
for
wow. What
Again.
a play.
Yeah, I mean, you got a running back coming right at you, and you got a defender, and they just meet right in the middle of it. It's just amazing strength to be able to truck a big defender like that.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest moves a running back
as
could pull off.
Guadalupe Hernandez puts this ball up. And once again, Hernandez is one of the best kickers in the whole state, as he is an amazing kicker, as we saw him earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I
In
agree.
practice, he was hitting 50 yards, 45. He's an amazing kicker. He won't miss.
You could just count on him if you have a long 4th down, deep in enemy territory. You could just count on him to make that field goal. He's just dead accurate, dead powerful.
Why would you need to count on him when Aragon has scored 3 of the 4 times in their possessions?
And it's 21-8, as you say.
Why
it's
would
a
you count on
13-point
him?
game.
Why would you count on him when you got a great offense?
No, I'm
Yeah,
talking
but as
about
you
in
mentioned
4th
that, why would the
down.
Patriots count on Godakowski if they're the best team in the league? I mean, Godakowski, they still need a kicker. I mean, it's not like the
Yeah,
best
I'm talking
teams
about-
shouldn't have a kicker.
I'm talking about 4th down conversions.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
As to show the kind of the man of bodies, as Paly only has 35 people and some are injured, Aragon has 45, so 10 more people. That could show as they have a lot more bodies, Aragon.
Well, I feel like that's really affected Paly. We've seen players get injured for Paly in the past 3 games, and they've just been
As
resorting.
you see the camera shaking, that describes how loud it is.
Yeah.
It is so loud here as everyone's stomping their feet against the bleachers. 21A, as you see the student section of the band, it is loud here as Hernandez kicks it off. As that is a beautiful feeling to see the kickoff and the drums go off. It's almost satisfying.
Why did he not run it back? Why did he just take a?
He was right there, man. He could have got
Why did he
lit
just
up.
do a fair catch?
Yeah, but he didn't get the ball, but I saw Paul Thigh back there instead of Janicio Henley, who's been usually returning the kicks. So I don't know
So it's
what was going on there.
So Mostafazadeh back on the field after the turnover last time of the fumble. See what they can do here as you see in the bottom of your screen, Jameer Shepard, the man who scored a touchdown last time. It's going to be a handoff to Chang. Chang still on his feet. Chang's going to keep going for about a 15-yard gain. The backup running back is putting on a show.
Once he gets on into the opening field, he is dangerous. Sort of a bit like Bryce Love.
Bryce
I would say.
Love. I like that because he's almost a speed back, and then Wes Walters is almost like Scarlett, a power back for Stanford.
Yeah, it was just a simple single back formation. The blocker just got upfield. Nice blocking by Paly.
And that's a new
just
thing to
right
do
up
in
the
the
gut.
NFL.
What he
College,
did,
have a power back and a fast back.
Yeah, like
almost as you
for the
call it.
Tennessee Titans, DeMarco Murray, Derrick Henry. You
Or
see it a lot.
Eagles, Sproles and Blunt. I mean, everyone does it.
Yeah, and like
Falcons.
I really like that running decision right there. Goes right up the gut, then just goes to his left.
As it's 21-8 Dons with about 5 minutes 15 left. Mostafazadeh trying to do something as it's 1st and 10 on the 43-yard line. Mostafazadeh is going to hand it off again to not to Chang this time. It's going to be to number 20, Manny Soto, the third stringer, backup running back. Now, normally the third string.
It's a little off topic, but I don't know if you guys can smell that. I think we're having a barbecue over there to our left, man.
Definitely.
We might stop
As
there
they
at
do it
halftime.
as they do it every Friday night.
Every
It's a
game,
tradition here.
Every day, man.
You order at the counter and go over, get a burger at the grill.
Yep.
And it's really awesome. I mean, Friday Night Lights is a tradition. Many schools aren't following that. As the Sacred Heart, where my brother goes, they don't follow that tradition because the residents complain about the lights. So they have to play on Saturdays, and we get one Friday night game a year. It's awesome that they can continue doing these. As Mostafazadeh in the gun
Pressure.
is going to keep running the pressure on, and he's going to throw it. Looks to be his intended receiver's number 11, Paul Thie, about a 3-yard gain, but it's incomplete because he was out of bounds. Clock will stop those.
Pressure was being pushed right there to Mostafazadeh. It was really a lot of pressure, and that's how Chris got out.
And the pressure was by our man,
Yeah,
Olive.
but
So,
even though it was only a gain of 2, but I still think it was a good job by Mostafazadeh by getting out of that.
yeah. And he looks experienced, even though this is one of his first games ever really playing.
Yeah, he's been looking
Not
good.
as a starter.
Starter
Yeah.
caliber.
And it's going to be 3rd and 10, 43. And this is a weird position for Chris because obviously he wants his team to do well, but he doesn't want to lose his job for when he's back.
His head down. He just looks mad. Wants to
Or
play.
that he could be in pain, yeah.
Not
If I'm
It's his left foot.
if I'm Danny if Oliver, if you were Danny Sullivan, what would you do right now?
Well,
You
I
don't
mean,
play him because Mostafazadeh is doing so well, but Oliver, what would you say?
yeah, I agree with Casey here. I mean, Jackson Chris does not look like he's in condition to go back in this game at all tonight. He's not looking good. But Mostafazadeh is. I mean, he's been connecting on his targets, evading pressure, just putting on a show for these Paly fans, something that they've
And they're
really
desperate.
missed.
Yeah. He's putting on a
As
show for the
We'd like to
staff.
remind you 2011-12 when they won the national championship, and man, that was
Devontae
awesome.
Adams, yeah.
Devontae Adams,
Yeah.
Bono, the quarterback, they were an amazing team back then, trying to repeat their success. So it's going to be 3rd and 10 on the 43-yard line. 3 minutes, 43 seconds left in the second quarter as it's 21-8. Aragon over to Palo Alto Vikings.
Course it's staff appreciation night here, and boy, I can tell you the staff are pumped up. I've been seeing some staff members going crazy and stuff.
So it's going to be 3rd and 10, 3 minutes, 41 left. after the timeout for the Vikings. It's going to be Kyle Mostafazadeh lined up under center. Mostafazadeh is going to hand this ball off.
Chang, that is.
Chang's is going to keep going. He's still on his feet. He's still on his feet, and he gets the first down. It's a 10-yard gain for Chang, and man, that is a nice play by the backup running back, Hayden Chang.
All him beast mode, because that man was just completely arrowing defenders who are easily a lot more heavier than him.
I'd heard about Aiden Chang before because his brother is actually on my flag football team, and he was talking about how Aiden Chang is a good player, and he's obviously shown that tonight.
Yeah. Aiden Chang, of course, he played backup last year to Paul Jackson the Fed, and I remember watching a game. He came in and he scored a couple touchdowns, and he looked like the better back for Paly.
So it's 1st and 10. Mostafazadeh hands it off again to Chang, and this will be a 5-yard gain.
And Chang, of course, is a reliable option when your two running backs.
First two string running backs are missing.
Yeah.
Paul Jackson III and Sion Latu, both
Yeah.
with injuries.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 2nd and 6 for the Vikings on their own 40-yard line.
2 minutes 48 in this half, might I remind you.
Sorry,
Six
on the opposite 40-yard line. And I'd like to mention how, well, wouldn't you say how good their center, Irvin Brown Alexander, is doing? He has had some nice blocks, their center, as you watch him on this play.
Yeah,
Center is one of the hardest positions to play on football.
and he's blocking Moses Olive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really hard position to play for football, actually. Because what you do, you snap the ball, get up, and it's pretty tempting to give face back or hold the player. It's really hard to
because
play
you're
center.
focusing on the ball, and then you got to snap it and look back up and guard and block the D tackle, who are big dudes coming at the
Really
quarterback.
hard.
So
Really
it's going to
hard.
be Chang that carries that one. It's 3rd and 5 with about 2 minutes left in the second half. There's no 2-minute warning, as we'd like to remind you. So 1 minute 58 as the clock is ticking for the Vikings. They want to. Don't you think they want to score before the halftime? Maybe get the momentum.
That definitely, I totally agree with you. Paly needs to get, I think Paly would like to get at least a couple points on the scoreboard.
Mostafazadeh under pressure.
Oh!
And he'll feel that one bad tomorrow. It's Paul
Dropped.
Thee. Just goes right through his hands.
Yeah, Paul D leads the team in total points scored a game with 4 points. And, I mean, it's a rare drop from Thee. I mean,
Do you mean 4
usually-
touchdowns?
No, well,
4
because
points.
it's, like, divided up by game,
Oh,
so
yeah, I
it's 4
see.
points a game.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's a lot
This
for a
year?
team
The
who's been
national
getting
average is
crushed.
only 3.5, so above
Yeah.
the national average.
It's a lot for a team that's lost every single game of the season so far.
So he's been having a great season as a junior. Can't imagine him in his senior year.
Well, it's kind of hard to talk about Paly now because they've played 3 very good football teams. They're playing another good football team. Like, it's hard to tell if they're good or not because they're keeping a good game with this team.
A minute 42 seconds left here in the second half as it's 8-21. Once again. Mostafazadeh under center as he does most of the times. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Mostafazadeh gonna hand us off to
Chang.
Chang,
Chang
and Chang's
stands
still
up.
on his feet. His knee almost touched, but it didn't.
Chang stays on his feet.
And Paly's driving, man. They look good. Their offense looks different ever since Mostafazadeh came in, and maybe he's their difference maker.
Chang has been
Could be good luck.
feasting.
Yeah.
Man, that he should have gone down there, kept his balance, and kept running.
Yeah, he's.
What else can you ask from a running back?
Yeah, exactly. The running back's job is to stay on your feet for as long as you can and get as many yards as you can.
That's the job description.
A minute 10 left. It's going to be Mostafazadeh. Mostafazadeh is going to throw it deep to Jameer Shepard. Jameer Shepard comes up with it. Had it in his hands. Good coverage by the Aragon Dons.
That might have
And that
been
looks
pass
to be
interference.
number 1, Davion Cox, also a very good wide receiver. And he's playing the game of his life.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing good on the offensive end, was of
I don't
course the
think you need-
touchdown and the long gain.
I think you're a little wrong about
And, I mean, he did a good job.
So it's going to be 21-8, 57 seconds left. It's 3rd and 5 for the Palo Alto Vikings. They're going to be on their opposite 19-yard line. They're driving everybody.
And I don't know if they're in field goal range or not because it's going to be really tricky to call. You did see Coach Sullivan go for it on 4th down in a similar position to this. Will he do the same after what happened that time?
3rd and 5. Masafizadeh is going to throw to Jameer Shepard, and he gets the first steal on his feet. Collins trying to tackle, and he gets the second touchdown of the day. Second touchdown of the day. Jameer Shepard.
Jameer Shepard, what he just did, he carried the whole Aragon defense.
He has got 2 touchdowns today, and he is playing the game of his life. Such a good game. Practice is so hard, and it's all coming in through. It is 21-14, and yet to kick.
It is now a 1-possession game, and coming into the second half, they will be getting the ball on kickoff. That is going to be a big momentum changer in this game.
You know what they call that, guys?
What?
A grown man play.
Yep. So it's going to be the kick for Tyler Foe to make this a 6-point game to go into halftime. The kick for Foe is blocked. Not what Tyler wanted, but either way, it's a nice 7-point game. It's 21-14. It's 21-14. Aragon up on the Palo Alto Vikings, and what a game Jameer Shepard has played. Wouldn't you say?
I would love to have that guy in fantasy football.
Yeah. Well,
He has around like 20 points.
Absolutely insane right there. Great passing, great catches by Jameer Shepard.
And staying alive there.
really hard.
I thought he was going to get tackled.
I think it's really hard to play right receiver, especially when you're against great cornerbacks here on the Aragon team. It's really hard to do that.
and I think that Masafizadeh has found his favorite target in this first half.
And Masafizadeh, look at all those yards, man. First play of his whole career, basically. Throws an 85-yard touchdown to Jameer Shepard, and he throws another. He's had some good stats, man. He's playing the game of his
really
life.
good. Put 14 points on the board for the Paly Vikings against this great Aragon.
Chris is walking,
defense.
as you can even see on your screen. Chris is walking, and Chris is limping, but not too bad. But I do not think he'll come in.
The thing is about
Either way,
Jameer
Masafizadeh's playing good.
Shepard. You guys want to know what Jameer Shepard is? You want to know what his year is in high school?
Sophomore.
A sophomore. Yep. He's
Two more years at Paly.
2 more years. I'm really excited for this guy. He's an incredible football player.
And such a good person.
Great person. Yeah, I've met him before. He's a really nice person.
Yeah, definitely.
So, 48 seconds left. They'll probably run it, maybe take a knee. I doubt Aragon's going to go for a touchdown. What do you think?
I mean, they probably just gonna run the clock out, but Jackson Christ, I don't know if he's gonna come back in with the way that Masafizadeh is playing.
Yeah, I mean, either way, if Chris is fine, Masafizadeh, I would still put
Even
him in.
more
keep him
fine.
in.
Can I just talk more about Jameer Shepard?
Go ahead.
Sure. Talk
Jameer
about him all you
Shepard,
want.
It is really hard for a freshman. He was a freshman. I know he's a sophomore now, but he was a freshman.
On the
And
varsity
he
team.
was on the starting lineup of this Palo
For
Alto
one
team.
game, yeah.
It's incredible. And now he's a star as a sophomore. College scouts, keep an eye on this kid.
It's a very rare occasion
He also
to
was
have
a star
freshman.
basketball player and
Yeah.
played a bit of baseball last year.
Yeah.
It's rare to have a freshman on the varsity team.
He got called
Takes
up
a
for a
lot of-
few games and even scored a touchdown as his freshman year, and already has 3 touchdowns this year as a sophomore. And junior and senior year, he'll be lighting up the crowd.
He was highlighted on players to watch for this year and definitely been living up to those expectations.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So they're going to actually change the kicker to Palo Alto Vikings. They're taking
Is
Tyler.
it the punter, the 265-yard
No, it's actually the junior Walker Rosenthal is going to kick it instead of Tyler Folk. So Walker Rosenthal will to the kick. He's kicked it twice now out of the 4 kicks for Paly. As it's up, this one looking to be returned by Robinson. Robinson still on his feet, finally tackled after the nice spin move by Robinson.
A flag is on the play. 2 flags.
Palo Alto is obviously not happy with that. You can hear
Oh, there's a
boos.
little bit of a brawl going on. Is number 30 on Paly, Raylan Baudreux, was talking some
Baudreau,
smack.
that's French, Casey.
Yes, I know his sister. He goes to my school. So it's going to be 43 seconds left, and there's 2 flags. Something said about 88% of the time, it's the receiving team that on a kickoff or a punt that has the penalty. Illegal block in the back could be.
Yeah, in the NFL, as you just said, when they're flagging the play, the thing that automatically pops into my head is illegal block in the back.
Yeah, because especially if you're on the offense, it's really hard. especially it's really a rough decision because if you just got one hand on the front and one hand on the back, or like one hand on the side or two hands on the side, it's really hard for the ref to tell if they're going to be like, that's a block in the back.
Sportsmanlike conduct called against both teams.
Oh, wow, and
Sportsmanlike
sportsmanlike,
conduct on both.
and that was because of the brawl. That was
it's
because
on-
of the brawl.
It's on Raylan Boderux and on some. They didn't exactly say who did on Aragon, but I believe that 28 was involved.
28, that being
Unga.
Gustav Unga.
Could be wrong though.
I mean, special team. There's a lot of these quote unquote brawls on these special teams because one team's like, I don't like the way you tackled my player. I don't like the way you blocked my player. So it's a lot of different occasions.
So it'll be normal. 1st and 10 on the 27 for the Dons. 43 seconds left. It's going to
They're
be
gonna be
Gabe
They're
Campos.
throwing it.
Campos is going to throw this ball away.
Actually, I think what they're trying to do is waste the time. They just want to get into the second half. I think they just want to stop Paly's momentum. Just play, just throw the balls on the ground, spike
Everyone's
it and
playing a
stuff.
good well offensively and pretty good defensively if most evolved. But they could do better versus Paly, who's 0-3. And Paly's played a good game, as we all thought this game would be. Paly's won the second quarter, and Aragon won the first quarter. So
I think Paly won both quarters, actually, now thinking about it. Even though Aragon
score-wise,
Yeah.
Aragon won, and Paly's won this quarter.
but I think
score-wise.
Paly's been playing a better game overall than Aragon.
Yeah,
Aragon's been making sloppy mistakes on offense and has not been containing Jameer Shepard on defense.
but talking about this Aragon offense, Gabe Campos has been doing a great job of using his legs as well as his arm.
Yeah, great
run.
scrambler. Keeps calm in the pocket, which is a really hard skill to teach as a
Campos
coach.
is going to hand this off, and he had a little bit of room but couldn't do it as a tackle was made by, I believe, 32. And that's Tyler Fogg, only 130 pounds. He is the smallest player on both teams here.
Smallest player on the field, I think you meant to say, Casey.
He's only 132 pounds. 6'1" junior, sorry, not 6'1", 5'6" junior.
Yeah, you're very wrong with that.
Yeah, he's not 6'1".
Yeah.
So it's going to roll down this second quarter. As you see, 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, 1 second left, and that will end the first half. So the score at the end of the first half is the Aragon Dons 21 and the Palo Alto Vikings 14. Stay tuned. We will have our first half analysis along with the second half of play right after this here on MC Sports. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Hello and welcome inside the broadcast booth. I'm Thayer Kacher. We have a very tight battle here with the Dons leading 21-14. Nate, what did you see in the first half?
Well, the first half, you know what I really liked? The Paly offense, and especially the duo of Kyle Masadev and Jameer Shepard. Jameer Shepard was one of his favorite targets, had 2 touchdowns in the first half. I'm really liking what I've seen. And Kyle Masadev, of course, came in after Jackson Quist went down. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, something I didn't notice in the first half was there was a lot of big plays, like 15-yard plays, 20-yard plays, and if they keep that up, it'll be a very high-scoring game, and it'll keep the crowd entertained.
Well, really, it's not been a high-scoring game it's not been a high-scoring game compared to Aragon standards. Aragon average score in the first quarter alone is 17.5 points. They've only scored 21 points in the whole half. That's pretty disappointing. And their high score of the season, 35-0, looks very hard.
Well, I guess that means that Palo Alto is really playing good defense on Aragon.
I really do agree with you on that. But the defense that I've liked more, the defensive player specifically, Moses Olive. Great defensive player on the trenches. Came in, sacked the quarterback a bunch. I believe he's caused Jackson Christ to get injured.
Oh, wow. I definitely agree with you.
Well, this is going to be a great battle here. Aragon will receive the second half kick.
No, it'll actually be Paly because Aragon on the first drive of the game scored a touchdown.
Aragon run.
I thought I was supposed to be at camera 3 and then he would go to camera 1. No, he's supposed to. Yeah, I am at camera.
Keller Chris is looking better on the sideline from his injury that he suffered early in the first quarter.
Do you have a second page for Palo Alto's? Keep talking. Do you have a second page for Palo Alto's roster?
Both teams are very hungry for their first win here.
Actually,
Aragon is
that is a
going
mistake.
to-
Actually, that was a typo in my paper actually that I wrote down. But they were actually 2-0. 2-0. That was a typo. My bad.
We only have one page for Aragon for Palo Alto's roster.
Okay, so coming up, Danny Sullivan, the head coach of Palo Alto, getting his offense pumped up for a very big half of play. It's going to be really tricky to beat these Aragon Dons.
We are closing in on the start of the second half here. Palo Alto really is going to have to shape it up on defense. They're letting big plays they're letting big plays go, and that's really going to hurt them. However, they have had some quality stops, so they need to keep it up and defend both at the same time.
Well, actually, both teams have been having big plays. I mean, like, you've seen the onside kick recovery for Palo Alto, and then you've been seeing Aragon attacking the running game. It's going to be really interesting to see how the second half plans out. Like, are they going to stick to? Are both teams going to stick to the same strategies that they did in the first half? Like, what are they going to do? What do you think, Sammy?
Yeah, I saw you pointing out special teams. Well, people really sleep on special teams because it's really an important part of the game, and people are always sleeping on it, saying that it's not important, but it really is important.
It can really
And there's
decide
the
games.
youngster,
Yes.
Keller Christ, just in that
Jackson
last
Christ.
shot.
Jackson Christ.
His brother is Keller Christ, who will be starting tomorrow night against San Diego State in their game. You can catch that one on CBS Sports Network at 7:30 tomorrow.
Okay, Jackson Christ actually got injured in the first half, and I believe it will be Kyle Matsudav playing quarterback this game in the second half, especially after the incredible first half of play that he had in the first half. Absolutely incredible. Loved targeting Jameer Shepard. And Jameer Shepard, let's remember, he's only a sophomore and already one of these stars. I repeat, star as a sophomore.
Yes, and I see that Aragon is 2-0 this year, and Palo Alto so far is 0-3.
yeah.
So let's see if Palo Alto can pull up the upset and bring down the undefeated Aragon Dons.
Well, of course, Aragon ranked 134th in the state, while Palo Alto is only ranked 552nd.
Wow, that's a big difference.
It's going to be a giant upset if Aragon can pull it off.
Yes,
If Paly can pull it off, my bad.
as we see the kickoff's about to start.
And here we go.
As the kicker Guadalupe Hernandez is about to kick it to the Palo Alto's kick returner.
Guadalupe Hernandez, of course, in warm-ups was kicking 45 to 50 yarders. That's insane.
It is.
And here we go. The second half kick is underway. As that is a pooch kick. As he returns it. And that's touched by Paly. And they have
the ball. I believe that is
And the
Paly
ball
football.
is out.
And they say it's Don's football. They think it's the Don's ball.
Oh, and it is not Don's football, it seems.
It is Don's
It is?
ball.
It is? Wow. Again,
Opening kick, it's recovered by Aragon.
as the Dons capitalize early on that play as they recover, and they will have a 1st and 10 from the Paly 25.
and again, you are seeing that special teams is really a vital part of the game, and it can really win or lose you a game.
Yep, that was a great play there.
Where's my graph?
As here we go.
And of course, that happened for the other team in that first quarter.
Gabe Campos is the quarterback as he hands it off, and that is a gain of 4.
Cameron Grant on the carry.
Gabe Campos.
Cameron Graham on the carry as
Chris
he takes it for 4.
Yes.
Cameron
Gain of 4, it'll be
Grant.
second and
He was
6.
not his number one choice of running back. It was actually Paul Latami, of course, his star running back.
As I think you really need to watch out for Brian Jefferson if you're the Aragon O-line, as he has led Palo Alto in sacks per game this year.
As the 5'7" senior hands it off, and there
And
he
busts through.
goes.
And that is a touchdown. Wow.
Cameron Grant.
Touchdown, and now the Dons are up by 2 scores with the extra point pending. Great blocking there.
Yes.
What do you think?
As I really think that Cameron Grant did a really good job of finding that hole that the offensive line opened for him. As people as people often sleep on the offensive line, but if you don't have a good offensive line, your offense will never be able to function.
I think it's one of the, it's really defines football as football. It's a really important
As
job.
the ball is bobbled
blocked.
and it is blocked,
Whoa,
We
nice
saw that.
block there by
and that was there as they hold it to
Number two.
13 points.
We saw that in the first half with Paly when they attempted that extra point when Jameer Shepard scored his second touchdown of the game. They tried attempting it and it was blocked.
There was 11:15 left in the third quarter here.
21-yard.
As I really think that both teams need to do a better job of blocking on extra points, as I often see just players running freely up the middle and around the outside.
Genesio Temple, of course, one of the great players for his team. Almost blocked a couple of those kicks. Almost blocked some kicks a couple of times, actually. Finally gets what he deserved.
Yes.
Hanacio Henley.
As here's Hernandez again waiting to kick. Let's see if they'll go for another onside kick like they did before.
I don't think they will, actually. I think it'll be a. I think they'll go safe.
As Hernandez is lining up to kick it.
As here we go. The Dons are up by 13 here, kicking off, and Palo Alto is going to have to capitalize.
And it's another high kick, but now this time.
As they're going to do a pooch kick to the 32-yard line. An interesting decision there just to kneel on that
Well,
as that was in play.
well, a guy like that really is not used to running, so that's what you're taught to do in Pop Warner, so that's what they've learned their entire lives.
Yeah, of course we saw another Palo Alto player. I forget who it was, but he kneeled around the 15-yard line. Interesting decision right there.
Yes, as I really think that he should have ran that one back, but that one I do not think it was a mistake to take the kneel.
Yeah, and it's still great field position.
Yes. As here's the snap, is it a handoff, and he is stuffed in the backfield by number 34.
That's me.
Oh, sorry, man.
As now it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 after that sack.
Michael Mueller with the great play, bursting through the offensive line and bringing down the running back in the backfield.
Cal Mustafov, one of the backup quarterback, of course he was, until Chris got down, and now starting, and he's been having a great game.
Yes, especially for not really practicing with the first team this entire year.
As there's a 2nd and 18, bringing up for the Palo Alto Vikings here. Kyle throws deep to the side, and it is caught. Pulled by with the reception, and that's a first down for Palo Alto.
Paul By, one of their leading receivers, leads the team in average scoring per game, with that being 4. Very good, of course. Great receiver, deep threat actually. A very tall wide receiver.
Well, I think they might have been
5'11".
They might have been sleeping on Paul Thigh because he was not really targeted that much in the first half, but he was able to find him there for the large game.
The only target that he had in that first half was a dropped pass.
As they hand it off
And he's
to number 21, Chris Martinez.
No, that is
who is a
actually
junior.
Aiden Chang. Aiden Chang. It's actually Aiden Chang, dude. It's actually Aiden Chang. Trust me.
and right now the score is 27-14. So I really think that Palo Alto has to put together a good drive if they want to stay in this ball game, because it looks like Aragon has really been able to play well on offense. Don't you think?
Yeah, there's now 9:40 roughly left in the third quarter. As Kyle Mustaf is in the pistol. He hands it off to
Wes
number
Walters.
10, Wes Walters, as he's the junior at 6 feet and weighs 230 pounds.
And of course, that is the size of a fullback, especially. I don't know if he's going to be more of a power back option for them, but he did get a 2-point conversion for them on that nice little out route.
Yeah, there we go. That's a great example of what really Paly can do when they're dominant.
Yep.
As now that brings up a 3rd and 6 with 2:53 left in the third quarter.
8:53, I believe you mean.
Now he's in the pistol. He drops back. He's looking. He's going to scramble. He's going to go long. And that is caught. Ball 5. Let's take a look at this replay. What a catch.
As that is his second big reception this drive, as I think he might be starting to heat up. As he was nearly dormant in the first half.
You said earlier that he's not been targeting, and did say the defense is sleeping on him. That's really putting into a factor, and that was easily wide open. Actually,
unfortunately, he actually did step out. That call was just reversed.
Wow, that was surprising, as I think they might have gotten the call wrong, as I did not see him step out of bounds. But
okay, that brings up a 4th down, and it looked like they're going to go for it. An interesting decision here.
Well, I actually don't. I figured it's a pretty predictable decision from. I figure it was a pretty predictable decision from Danny Sullivan. He's been going for a couple times this season.
I also agree with you, as when you're around the 50-yard line.
And Palo Alto's just going to call a timeout, as I believe they were just trying to draw him off sides there. Now, I don't know if I totally agree with that decision. It was a 4th and 6. You know, I think you just got to punt it away. What do you think?
Well, I actually agree with that decision, because in a 4th and 6 situation, the odds are that you might get that. But if you're in the opponent's field, so if you punt it, there's a high chance it might go into the touchback zone, which will give them not bad field positioning.
Yes, that is true.
And now, as you see in the NFL, many coaches are starting to go for it more in this situation, as they're pointing more to statistics proving that the chance of them winning is better when they go for it on 4th down.
That is true, as Pete Carroll, the Seahawks coach, really has encouraged that, and he's really brought that back to the NFL, along with faking and doing things like that, such as in the 2013 divisional round when NFC Championship, when they did a fake field goal against the Green Bay Packers. 8:36 left in the 3rd quarter here. Aragon is up 27-14. Drops back. Kyle looking. He throws across the middle, and there he goes. Jameer Shepard, and that's a 1st down. They convert on 4th and 6.
As correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that might have been Shepard's first target this second half, as he was targeted many times in the first half.
Jameer Shepard, of course, his favorite target in the first half. Looks to be switching over to Paul Fye, but Jameer Shepard, 2 touchdowns, been coming out with some big catches.
Aragon's ball, 1st and 10 at their own.
It turns out that actually was incomplete. He did not control possession, and that was an incomplete pass. Now, here we go. He hands the ball off, and number 3, Donovan Robinson, the 6-foot senior, weighing in at 153 pounds, takes it for a 5-yard gain. 2nd and 5.
That was his first carry of the game. Actually, who was that? It was Cameron.
Donovan Robinson, that was, who had a great carry.
As Robinson is actually quite tall for his age, as he is 6 foot.
Gabe Campos is in the shotgun. Two running backs in the backfield as they hand that off to number 31, Paul Latimi, the junior, 5'10".
As I see on both teams, they have a plethora of running backs carrying the ball, just so none of these running backs get tired.
And as you can see, this was a good example of the head coach of Aragon, Steve Sell, calling the Wildcat. Actually, he did that in the first half, and now going back to it in the second.
As the Wildcat is very popular in college, but it seems to have died out a little more in the NFL.
Well, Stanford uses it a lot. You saw that with Christian McCaffrey.
Gabe Campos hands it off to number 31, Paul Latimi, as he takes it in for the score.
But there
we go.
But there is a flag in the play. It's down near about the 30-yard line. Let's see what the officials call. It was most likely a holding.
That is a hold, so that one will be coming back.
a hold against Aragon is Palo Alto is very lucky that
Just a stinger there for Aragon, as that was a big play wasted. Hopefully they can capitalize on it here, as they will have another chance.
And immediately on an Paul Jackson the third, he averaged 106 yards per game. He's averaging 106 yards per game this season. Very great player.
as that really makes you wonder that if they had him, would the outcome of this game be different? What do you think?
I think it would have definitely been different. I think it would have been a lot more closer because Paul Jackson the Fed is proven to be changing games. I remember last year he really changed the game a lot.
As Restov just back, he's looking, and
And
he is going to go down on 4th down. And well, that looks like it's all, folks.
If you're a quarterback right there, if you're a quarterback, the number one thing you don't want to do in the pocket, run backwards. The first thing that Masadov did right there, run backwards. Poor decision making there by
Well,
Masadov.
he really didn't have a chance there. As the O-line did not do a good job of blocking. There was 2 men on him right as he snapped the ball.
Yeah, you know, Paly they really need, so hopefully over the next year or two, they will improve that.
Yes.
Yeah. And for an offensive lineman, like a giant growth in between a couple years can prove to be really giant, can prove to be really huge. I remember David DeCastro and Jonathan Martin, when they first came to Stanford, they were good linemen at run blocking, but not good at pass blocking.
As that's a handoff to Donovan Robinson, as he is down to, and that's a gain of 8 yards. You know, just solid gains like that, that's really going to help your team, and that's what he did there. As of now, do you approach this, do you see them running out the clock, even though we're still in the late stages of the third quarter?
Well, I really do, because when you're winning by 20, you don't really expect the team to do a very good job of coming back, and you just want to get the game over with.
Yes, I agree. You know, you can't injure any of your players.
Yeah.
Mostov hands it off to number 31,
Latami!
and he,
Into the end zone again.
No.
Nope, actually got
Paul
stopped.
Latami, with a great gain, as that is going to be a gain of at least 10.
What a great running out.
As it's going to be a 1st and goal for the Aragon
Dons. Yeah.
As you see that there is now 6 seconds left in the third quarter.
And of course, right there, went straight to the outside. You could clearly see that these running backs for the Dons really love taking it to the outside.
Yes.
Both of these running backs actually, Aiden Chang, the speedster for Palo Alto, and of course Donovan taking it out to the outside just there. Great play.
Yes. As now the score entering the fourth quarter is 34-14 with the Dons leading it.
And of course the fourth quarter is crunch time. This quarter that really decides games. These 12 minutes will be the most vital 12 minutes of the game.
But when your team is winning by 20, does the fourth quarter really that different than the other 2 quarters? Well, no, because the other 2 quarters might have been more important with getting you this big lead.
Yeah, but you know, even no matter if you're losing by 60 points or you're winning by 60, you still have to approach it as it's 0-0.
Yep.
You know, you cannot get off track with thinking, oh, we're going to go win this game. Oh, we're done. You know, you got to stay focused and keep pushing, and who knows what could happen.
And in college football, in some games, if you play really well in the fourth quarter, that can decide if you're still going to be a top 25 team or not. Like if you manage, let's say you're down by 30 points, if you can come back to cut that lead to 10 by the end of the fourth quarter, that could really decide what you're going to your position is.
As you saw in that game just earlier this year when Texas A&M was up by 31 points, but they
35 actually.
35 as they lost that lead to UCLA as they were able to make a really nice comeback.
And hey, this is high school, so that could be the same thing for state rankings as numbered. And wow,
Number 6.
number 6. Cameron Grant, the junior, takes it in for a touchdown. And oh my goodness.
I believe both of these, the star running backs, are juniors. Yes, I'm correct. Paul Latami and Cameron Grant are both juniors, which means they have one more year of eligibility of that crazy two-headed running back monster.
As that really makes you think that Aragon, not only can they
As
be
the extra point is
competitive this
good.
year, next year they could also really compete to win some games.
Yeah, and Steve Sell, you got to get hats off to him. He's done a great job with this team. They'll if they win this game, which they probably will, they'll be 3-0. He's a great head coach. I really admire his play calling too.
And
He's have great play calling. He mixes it up. It isn't too consistent. So I feel like the defensive coordinator for Paly is confused and having a hard time, which is exactly what you want from the head coach and the offensive coordinator.
And Aragon, of course. Aragon obviously like Steve Saul. They're as just as big as a fan as you are of him, as he's been coaching at Aragon since 2004, and those have been a great 13 years.
Yes, as there is 11:56 left in the fourth quarter here. Aragon is leading 41-14 as they're going to kick it off. Number 8, Guadalupe Hernandez is going to kick it
Guadalupe
off.
Hernandez, I believe you meant to say.
Yes. You always have those names that are
Yeah.
so tough.
Yeah.
As that kick goes out of bounds, there will be a flag there that will bring the ball up to the 40.
And Sammy, of course, this stadium is one of the hardest to come into play with. First of all, it's nestled between two main roads, that being Alma and El Camino. It's right next to the train tracks, which means its trains are just coming in, being really loud. And the band, absolutely insane. One of the best atmospheres in the Bay Area.
As you saw earlier this game, that the cameras were shaking, that the fans over in this Palo Alto side were so loud. And of course the trains, when they come by, you can probably hear them on the TVs set, as they are very loud, and I'm sure it's hard for the opposing teams to focus when they come.
And here we go as Paly comes onto the field now with Kyle Mustadov in the pistol with 2 men in the backfield. He hands it off to number 22, Aiden Chang.
As again you saw, Chang didn't really have a chance to go anywhere because the O-line did not do a very good job of blocking.
When you go into practice this week, I really think, you really got to adjust to what happens. Of course there isn't film at this level to watch, but you really have to adjust to what's going on.
And especially who you're going to be playing, especially you're going to have to adjust, especially because you'll be playing a very good team next week.
Mustadov is in the pistol as he hands it off to number 22, Aiden Chang, as he breaks free.
Chang did a very good job of making something out of nothing there, as he was touched at the line of scrimmage. He was able to power through and get to the 49-yard.
As that brings up a 3rd and 1. With the time running out, with 10:50 left, and you're down by 27 points, do you run it here or do you just take a shot deep and see what happens? Because nothing can hurt you at this point.
And of course, Palo Alto, they'll be preparing. They're not focusing on this game anymore, especially if I was the Paly staff. I would be focusing more on next week's game against Homestead, which is actually really good team at Homestead.
Mustadov hands it off to number 20, Manny Soto, the senior who is 5'6", as he runs it for no gain, as that brings up a 4th and 1.
As that was a nice stop by the defense. It was a 3rd and short yardage situation, as they were able to bring down a running back in the backfield.
As Mustadov is going to come up and call a play here, as they really need to execute here. 4th and 4, pardon me, they lost. And so here we go, Mustadov in the pistol. They're going to run it on 4th and 4, and he is stopped.
If I am the Paly staff, right? If I'm the Paly coaching staff, I'd just be going for it on 4th down every single time you can do that.
I definitely agree with Nate, as even if you are close to your own end zone, there's nothing really, you can't really hurt yourself right now.
You have to throw that ball.
27 points.
You have to throw the ball in that situation.
I completely agree with you.
throwing the ball when you're down by that much, I mean, it's so crucial. Like, yeah, you might get beat more if, it's an interception, but who cares? If you're going to lose, if you're down by so much, there's nothing that can hurt you.
Yeah, there's really nothing to lose.
That is correct. As the quarterback comes on, Gabe Campos, the senior, 5'7", quite a small quarterback, as he hands it off to...
Still, even though he's a smaller quarterback than Mustadaf, he's still been proven to be the better quarterback this game. He's been proven to scramble. He's been proven that he can throw the ball deep, and he's been proven that he can throw the ball on these short little crossing routes like slants and stuff.
Yeah, that's really one of the things that you really need as a quarterback. You need to do many aspects of the game. You look now at some players, such as Cam Newton, or even Aaron Rodgers, too. They can both scramble and throw. Meanwhile, there's a short gain there, as that will bring up a third down for the Dons as the game is winding down inside 8.5 minutes.
Paul Jackson, the Fed, as you can see right there, injured on the sideline, star running back, great player.
As I can see that the Palo Alto sideline is really not as buzzing as it used to be, as they are down by 27 points. They must be feeling a little bad about themselves.
Of course,
as number 15, Frankie Paredes goes for a big gain. Palo Alto, they've really been getting crushed. In their last game, they lost 42-6. And they're 0-3, and they're about to be 0-4 after this game. So you really need to regroup.
Yes, as I feel like their head coach, Danny Sullivan, might not be feeling too happy about this, as he may have to draw up some new plays or something, because obviously what they're doing right now is not working.
Well, even though Danny Sullivan has not been having the best capital pass years, I still would not fire him. He led that team to a state championship.
Yes, he did.
In 2011, 2012.
As Campos hands it off to number 15, Frankie Paredes.
Paredes, that was just back-to-back carries right there, proven to be very effective.
Yes, he has. As they've really been feeding him this last drive, as they've really been trying to milk the clock.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to the Media Center Sports, MC Sports. We apologize for not broadcasting live. We had some technical issues, as we will be back live next week.
Wait, how long till the game ends? 7 minutes?
Wait a second, what's happening?
What's happening?
Frankie Paredes again picks up a first down.
What's happening?
Gain of 11 and a first down at the
Does anyone know what's
15-yard
happening?
line.
Yeah, does anyone know what's happening?
Are you still going? Talk.
Now there's a first down for the Dons with under 7 minutes to play. The Palo Alto, just the fan base right now is really dead. It's starting to become a blowout. The fans are down. So they just really need to play good defense here, and who knows what could happen. Gabe Campos hands it off to number 22, Dallas Fernandez Worthington, the senior, who was 5'7".
As he has not gotten very much work this game, as this has been, I think, his first carry this entire ball game.
You are right.
Yes, it has, and when you come in so late into the game, you really need to prove your coach, hey, I'm here to play. I'm not here to be a backup. You really got to prove what you are and how good you are as a player.
Yeah, because if your coach considers you left bench, you want to make you your starting running back.
Yes.
Campos hands it off to number 15,
Again.
Frankie Paredes, and Paredes across the 5, and that's a first stand goal for the Dons.
As you really see right here that the Aragon offensive line has really been demolishing the Palo Alto defensive line, as it's obvious that they have given up and feel like they have no chance of winning.
I completely agree with you, Sammy. Still, they gotta play this game. They're not. If I'm Danny Sullivan, I would not throw in the white flag. That's just gonna hurt your. That's just gonna hurt your.
As now we have a
resume.
first and goal with Gabe Campos, the quarterback, in the shotgun. He hands it off to number 15, Frankie Paredes, as he takes it.
Around the 3-yard line, maybe 2.
This fights his way down to the
Yeah.
1 yard line.
1 yard line. I was wrong.
5-yard pickup.
Yeah. What? Are we gonna end it soon?
On the 1 yard line, can they capitalize right here? Can they make it 48-14?
Here's
Makos in the, as they hand it off to Frankie Paredes, and that is a touchdown for the Aragon Dons, as they are now up by even more.
As you feel, that's just a crushing blow to this Palo Alto team, as they are now down by over 30 points, as you have to wonder how these players on the sideline are feeling.
And of course, this is Palo Alto's first home game of the season. You must really feel bad for your crowd. Actually, this is their second home game of the season, but you must really feel bad for your crowd, as this is Staff Appreciation Night. I must feel really bad for the staff members. I know a couple staff members who teach here at Paly, and I bet they're at this game and they're really upset. Like, I've seen some staff members in the stands really into it, hanging out with the students, going mad. Now, as dormant as a
As this stadium is starting to empty out here, as the energy has just gone from ballistic to about nothing.
Yes. As you see that the players on Palo Alto's sideline are not very happy about how they're doing right now, as many of them are very angry about how they have played.
I mean, like, you can really see right in the middle of your screen, the drummer, he was really just looking down, moping in a way, kind of just going like, obviously upset with how his Vikings are playing.
We now have 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter here, folks. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in to MC Sports.
That's only at the end
Kicking it off to Paly. Well, do you think they'll do another kick that's just high? And
They
6?
have to, they gotta stay consistent now that they're up by so much. As they're gonna do another pooch kick.
Which I really like what the Paly
and
band
Paly
does.
will start at number 30.
I really like what the Paly band does. They just have the brass section go, wow.
As it seems like both teams are continuously doing that same type of kick that's just falling to the second line. As you see now that it seems like a timeout has been called by the Aragon team.
The Dons, of course, heading into the next match at 3-0, they must feel confident.
Yeah.
Yes, the Dons really, they'll start there now. After this game, they'll be 3-0. So, when you go into your next game 3-0, sorry. When you go into your next game 3-0, that's a huge boost of confidence. And that's what they're really going to get out of winning this game.
Well, not only are they going to get that boost in confidence, they're also going to get that boost in their record.
And of course, the Dons next week will be heading to King's Academy, which will be another away game for them. And King's Academy also came out for a win. That will be a very exciting game to watch.
Yes, I'm very interested to see how Aragon fares against another team who has just won. As you see now, both teams are starting to run back onto the field.
And just a heads up for those of you college football fans tomorrow, make sure to tune in to College Game Day tomorrow morning, as that can kick your day off.
prioritize other shows that we are not covering. Around 4 minutes left in this game, it's obviously just over for Palo Alto. If you're Sammy, if you're the coaching staff for Palo Alto, what will your mindset be coming into next week's game?
I mean, coming into next week's game, you really feel like it's a must-win if they want to stay in any hunt to get to any kind of playoffs. As you see now that both teams are running to the sideline with 2 running backs in the backfield.
This really means that they're going to be running the football, chewing the clock out. They just want to get off the
Runs the
field.
ball, and that's going to bring up third down for the Vikings once again.
They just really, I have a feeling the Paly staff is going to be calling all these running plays just to run the clock so they can get off the field. They don't want their fans to see them after a loss.
As you really feel like this is an embarrassing defeat, being destroyed by over 40 points on their home turf.
Yes, indeed it is. We now have 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter here, folks.
Yeah.
This is just a clear embarrassment for the Vikings.
Yes, I definitely believe so.
As there's a handoff to number 20.
As you really
Manny
feel for
Soto.
all these fans that came here just to try to see their team win, and they just get to see their team get embarrassed on their home turf.
Yeah, but we could kind of expect this going in. Aragon was 2-0. Paly was 0-3. Favored to win, Aragon was, and they came out. Business trip down to Palo Alto from San Mateo, and they took care of business.
Yes.
Very good, right? And of course, Aragon, their first 2 games are home. The next 2 will be this game, and the next one will be away.
I think I speak for most of us when I say that we are very interested about how Aragon does next weekend against King's Academy. Don't you think?
Definitely, and I'm really interested to see how Aragon does in this season. 3-0, can they keep on going? Can they make it to state?
Well, let's see what happens later in this season. And another thing I'm interested to see is how Palo Alto will be able to rebound by this bad start.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Palo Alto is tough, just tough season so far, as they're 0-4. Now,
and an interesting play call.
Drops back, and that is dropped by number 18, Walker Rosenthal. Just an unfortunate break there.
Well, if you're Joseph Rosenthal, being a backup play, once you get in, the coach is calling your number. He says, "Listen, I want to target 18. You're gonna have to be ready, and to drop a pass like that must be really disappointing for you."
Yeah, as I see there that was probably his chance to gain his coach's trust and have more plays called his way, but just to drop that ball, that must be very tough for him.
There's now under 40 seconds left to play, so after this play, unless it's out of bounds or a stoppage of play, the time might run out. As Masyov hands it off, and that will bring up fourth down. As let's see here what they call.
I believe they'll just let the clock run out.
As it seems like the final score is 48-14 with Aragon taking the victory.
As that will do it tonight here, folks. The final score is 48-14 in favor of the Aragon Dons. The Aragon Dons have walked away with the win here. We thank you to our entire MC Sports student crew. Our next broadcast will be next Friday. My broadcast partner,
Sammy.
And Nate.
I'm Thayer Kacher. This has been a student sports production of the Mid-Peninsula Media Center. Have a great night, and we will see you next Friday.